Hey guys. Dope Meister Double R, what's good? What's good? How you doing tonight? Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me. Jameson, what's good? What's good? How you doing, hon? Come on in, you guys. Come on in. Hey, C. Burleson, what's good? What's good? Hey, good to have you in the house tonight. Good to have you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Tavis, Sugar Daddy Williams, I see you. Rebel, what's good? What's good? What's up, family? Good to see you guys. Come on in. Come on in. Happy Wednesday. Hey, it's hump day, right? My day off, you guys, so I decided to come through with a show. Couldn't come on last night, wanted to just kind of get my show down just a little bit more. So, came through my day off, had a good day, so I had to come through with hopefully a good show. So come on in, you guys, come on in. Yes, you are, Jameson. Yeah, we a little bit on the late night. Yeah, just hit 9 p.m. out here on the East Coast. If y'all on the East Coast, y'all know. I got a brother out there on the West Coast, so out there it's about 6. Just turned evening time for you guys, maybe about dinner time. So, whatever time it is, glad you guys are here with me. Hey, Miss Etta. Hey, sis. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad you stepped in. Glad you stepped in. So we'll go ahead and get right into it, you guys. Just tonight, I just wanted to kind of look at this, kind of turn just a little bit to the offense a little bit. After kind of going through some of these games I've been going through, looking at defense. Just kind of, I kind of want to take a look at, one of the rooms that we, kind of have some questions coming up on this new season coming up in this 2023 season, and of course that's the running back room. But we all know that we want to go into the season with Tony Pollard as our running back one. So just kind of looking at some of these games, I got 2 different games for you guys today. If you guys in the mood, I want to take a look at the Green Bay game and the Jags game. And just before we kind of get started here, just kind of watching these 2 games back, and I kind of put this off for the longest, just because no one likes, I know I don't, no one likes rewatching a L. What I'm saying, both those games, as we know, were losses, and tough losses at that. And I just kind of as I kind of started watching these games, I started seeing more and more similarities between the 2, and and really just crazy similarities. And I just kind of wanted to go through both of these games. And really my point was, just to kind of really, because the Green Bay game, of course, at that point in time, Zeke, had an injury from the previous Lions game. So he was out, he tried to tough it out, but, they didn't let him go. So, in that game, that is when we actually had Tony Pollard featured as running back one. So I kind of wanted to bring that game, just to the forefront, just to kind of use it as an example of maybe what we might see, in this upcoming season. And, we also got a little bit of taste of Malik Davis in there as well. So we're going to take a look at him. And then I chose the Jags game because that's another game where we saw Tony Pollard's carries kind of high. It's actually his second highest carry game of the regular season. So I just kind of want to take a look at those games, just take a look at how Kellen Moore, how he utilized him last year, and just to see some things that may have been, some strengths and just some weaknesses of his that, that maybe we could, continue on as far as strength. And then, just things that, some things that we may be able to fix with his weaknesses as well. So before we get started, let's see who else is tapped in with the chat. Double R says, do I dress up Dallas for Halloween? Actually, no, I never actually have done, anything Dallas Cowboys for Halloween, and I mean, like, because I don't know if you guys know, I'm a mail carrier, so like during the day I'll wear like something Dallas related, but y'all try to just like either wear a costume or, I just, really just hang out at the house and give out candy. I really don't, go out or anything like that. But if I do dress up, it's never really been like anything cowboy related. Sugar Daddy says, like and share. Thank you. Appreciate you. I don't know if you guys are on Twitter. Let me go ahead and I'm just going to post mine right quick. Guys hit me with a follow. And of course, I'll follow back. Just trying to, get some of my content out there and, just kind of get this, up and off the ground running. Double R says, Mickey, love you, but your dog Dallas. What you mean, Double R? Yeah, my dog's name is Dallas. I don't know if I mentioned that before. His name is Dallas, and really that was actually my mom's idea when I first got him, because I was actually kind of stumped on what to name him, and she said, well, your favorite team is the Cowboys, just go with Dallas. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a good idea, and it kind of stuck, and even to this day, it's that's his name, of course. It kind of just kind of stuck with him, and he definitely has a personality, definitely my road dog. All right, good night, Jameson. Thanks for stepping in. Appreciate you, man. Hope you have a good night. Hope you get some rest. We'll see you next time. All right, be easy. Oh, do I dress the dog up for Halloween? No, no, my dog is definitely like he is. He's not with the whole like clothes or anything like that. He's kind of like a mid-sized kind of big dog, so he's not really on that clothes. He's never really been on that clothes type thing. Like, yeah, I even like during the wintertime, I try to throw blankets on him and stuff like that. Like I used to like kind of like in the woods, so it'd be kind of cold at wintertime, and he wasn't even with that. So he's he's more like, hey, I'm chilling. So no. Dope Meister says, yeah, I'm on Thread. Dope Meister, yeah, I'm on Thread. Let me put that in here, because I'm on IG. If you just look at my IG and just follow me on IG, and then hit me up on Threads, I'll follow you back too. All right, so yeah, you guys, like I was saying earlier, I just want to take a look at a couple of these games. I'm actually just shout out to Jay Tuck. I heard him in the show yesterday that he was on with Henny. And they were kind of breaking down the X's and O's. And I'm actually just learning a lot from their series, and just in general when they do some kind of film show. I find myself watching them more and more, because I definitely as a fan, I want to learn more about the game, and just kind of it's not, for me, it's not just about watching anymore. It's kind of about my growth and my growth in knowledge, and also understanding the game, and actually know understand what's going on in front of me. So watching their shows really gives me more information, and yeah, I just try to understand both offense and defense. It is kind of tough because I of course, being female, I've never played football. I don't have that background, nothing like that. So really just kind of coming in with really, really fresh eyes, just trying to understand the lingo, the terms and stuff like that is definitely not easy. So, but I take it with a grain of salt, and I just shout out to them for spending the time on it. Not know not a lot of creators kind of do that, but I just kind of find myself more interested, and really gives me an excuse to watch the games, hey, more than once. Why not? And even with these games that kind of come out as losses, but you kind of get to take a second look, a third look, a 20th look, if you really just want to see kind of where maybe like I said, what mistakes you've made, or hey, maybe some things that you want to continue doing. That's how players improve themselves. So I had why not improve my knowledge at the same time. Yes, Rev, I agree. Yesterday with Rome and Tuck, yeah, that was nice. Yeah, their show was nice, and I was also talking about the show that Jay Tuck and Haney did. I think it was maybe sometime last week, or maybe Saturday over the weekend. They did like an X's and O's show where they kind of broke down more of the West Coast offense, or the Tex Coast, whichever people are calling it. So but yeah, shout out to Jay Tuck and Rome. Both in their show yesterday was fire as well. And really, when any content creator comes on, I can definitely expect a great show. And also where I can learn at the same time. Yeah, Sugar Daddy, I agree. And even with some of these plays, I'm gonna kind of run back. I agree. Like of course, a high percentage of it is based on how the offensive line does. So of course we got to get that down pat before the season starts. And that's really with any linebacker we have, but definitely, of course, with Tony Pollard being the number one. But yeah, these, some of the plays that he has, like these explosive plays that we see and that we've seen, and like we saw in the Minnesota game, in the Rams game when he breaks off of those huge plays. I'm saying we excuse me, I'm sorry, we know his potential, and we know just how his speed, helps him and helps us at the same time, helps the team. Taylor says, "Hey, I bet your favorite sitcom is Dallas." Actually, no, I've never seen that sitcom. I don't think I'm not really old enough to have seen it, and I never really, saw it. But no, so it's it's not actually my favorite show. Double R says, "Who shot Jr.?" Right? I have heard that tagline. I have heard, that was like how they left off the show and stuff like that. Oh, look who tapped in, you guys. Look. Knowledge is key. You got it, and I see it in you. You go, Mickey. What's up, I love weed? Hey, man. First of all, your name is dope. I peeped that. That was the first, first thing I peeped about you. And second of all, thanks for stopping through. Thanks for joining the family. And, we always love it when you come through, man. Appreciate you. And it says, yes, Miss Ellie shot JR. Yep. Is that true? I don't know. Yeah, Taylor says, yeah, same here. My content be slept on. Thank you for reminding me. I need to subscribe to you too, Thank you for reminding me. I'm while I'm thinking about it, because I need to do things while I'm thinking about it. Sorry, guys, give me one sec. Taylor, actually, let me know your your name on YouTube so I can subscribe to you. Sugar Daddy says, yeah, you ain't lying. Line questions, tight end questions, backup running back questions, lots of questions. Correct. And that's just on the offense, right? You know what I'm saying? So, really only for the questions we have on defense may be the linebacker room, but I think I have a feeling that's going to come together in training camp. That's really just a matter of reps and who steps up. But that's really in any room. But there's definitely more questions, of course, as it has been over the years on the offensive side, as far more than the defensive side. Yep, Double R says if Pollard gets a little winded in the fourth, they can bring in Vaughn. I agree. Yeah, they definitely are similar in speed. You know what I'm saying? Can definitely get between them tackles, like we mentioned before. If that O line gets it set up, he could, them lanes, like even looking back, like we see a little bit in this Green Bay game. We even saw Davis, pull off some big runs just because of the lanes he was able, just because of the lanes that the offensive line was able to accomplish. So it's definitely possible. Red Rebel says wide receiver depth questions. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, as far as I would say like maybe forward, through six, or depending on how many they decide to keep, 5 to 6. Yeah, it depends on how many. It depends on how many wide receivers they want to keep, how many tight ends they want to keep, how many running backs. So that them cuts is going to be crazy, towards the end of training camp. So let me get into. We're going to look at the Green Bay game first. Hey Taves, don't forget to drop your name in the chat so I can subscribe to you, right? Don't let me forget. Yeah, Double R. Yeah, linebacker questions, but I like our group. Yeah, me too. Yeah, we got some. And for real, I was reminded about Devin Harper earlier today in Landlord's chat. I forgot all about him. Seeing Damone Clark come up, and of course Jabril Cox, of course. But I forgot all about Devin Harper. So we're gonna see him. Try to get some work in there too. Yeah, I agree, Double R. I like to see Vaughn get some snaps, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see Vaughn get snaps in preseason. Somewhere down the line. I'm sure we're going to see that. So I'm sure we're going to be able to see his explosiveness. Sometime on the field before the actual season starts. Sugar Dice says Damone rides a white horse. Yeah, he very well could, because even the way he was coming up last year, playing alongside LVE. He could be something scary. Yeah, I love he says he can't wait to see the North Dakota kid, Vaughn, I'm assuming. No, Vaughn is Kansas. Let's see if we will miss Zeke. Yeah, we will definitely see that, and we'll start to see. We'll actually see that in training camp. How these boys come out. In that first week. Oh, okay. Keystone Cowboy on Twitter. Okay, I got you, Tavis. Okay, I got you. All right, you guys. Let me know if you can see. Looks like you guys can see it. Of course, on my screen, but of course, give me thumbs up. Let me know if you guys can see the Green Bay screen before I get started. Rev says, "What do you think of Jordan Love now that Aaron Rodgers ain't there no more? I think he'll have a solid season." I don't know exactly what I think of Jordan Love just yet, but I think he can come along. I mean, we saw him in a few snaps last season. Trying to gel with the team, and what I'm saying, when I believe there was some games towards the end where Aaron didn't play, where he was out injured. I think towards the end of the season, so we saw him play just a little bit. Nothing, of course, nothing to judge off of. What I'm saying, completely. What I mean, but I think. He does have some, athleticism to him, and we saw him move a little bit on the field. But of course, I like to see him. I kind of feel the same way about him. That feel way, about, of course, that kid from Tennessee, Malik. He definitely had more time on the field, to get his feet under him a little bit, but he didn't, of course, have that full off season, what I'm saying, or training camp to get it together. So, of course, Jordan Love didn't either. So, and he definitely didn't have that, that much time to get, acquainted with the team or the field or the feel of the game. So I definitely want to see, how he comes along. And I think he could be decent, for them, just depending on, because they have the receivers that we saw last year. They have the weapons, that Aaron used last year. So we'll see how Love comes along with, and how they, what plan they have for him. Uh-oh. Is that Miss Jazz I see in the chat? Oh, snap. Let me find out Jazz checked in. What's good? How you doing, sis? It's really great to see you, honestly. I hope you're doing so well. And I hope you're doing well tonight. I got you, Double R. I'm gonna try to blow it up as much as I can. We ain't really even really got to it yet, so you ain't missed nothing yet. I got you. Once we, I'm gonna load up to the full screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Oh, really, Tavis? Damone says putting in that work at Ryan Clark's DB camp. That's great to hear. I didn't know Ryan Clark had a camp, first of all. And that's great to hear, it's always great to hear, players putting in extra work in the offseason. Like when we saw Micah Parsons and Tyler Smith out there at Von Miller's camp. It's all, it's great. It's great seeing that, of course. Who better to learn from, you know what I mean? So, extra work. I think Clark's gonna be another one to turn up this year. Like I was saying earlier with LVE, in my show yesterday, like that tandem could be dangerous. Yeah, I agree, though, Meister. It's crazy how much talent we have right now. It's just crazy how quick, like, we go from, not necessarily complaining, but saying we need this much, firepower on offense, and then we turn around and now we have firepower on both sides of the ball. It's crazy. And like you said, like the battlefield, where to put them on the field, who to have out there, like I was saying earlier with the cuts and things like that. It's gonna be crazy. What's good, JC? Good to see you too. Got you checked in. Taylor says Malik Davis could have beat Green Bay by himself. His few runs, yes, he had double-digit runs. Tavis going back over some, even that I believe was one of the drives towards the end of the third quarter. Like he was getting 14, 10 plus yard runs. That could have helped, but for whatever reason, things kind of stalled out for us. So speaking of, let's go ahead and get into first of all, what I want to do is, like I said, speak about the similarities between these two games. Just before we get into it. All right, you guys. So yeah, when I was looking at these two games, just kind of going back over them, I seen there's a lot of similarities between these two. Like first of all, of course, like I mentioned earlier, we all know we lost both of these games. But just another thing I want to point out is, of course, they were both overtime games. We both know that. And another thing is, we didn't really see, like I mentioned earlier, the Green Bay and the Jags game were two games in the regular season where Tony Pollard's carries were, the top two pretty much, his top two games in carries. But that doesn't necessarily equate to, I want to say effectiveness, but maybe efficiency. Like I just know watching back these games, there weren't as many explosive plays like how we kind of watched back the Minnesota game or even the Lions game. Those couple plays we saw in the Rams game. We saw those explosive plays where Tony was able to use his legs to get off the line or even come from behind the line of scrimmage and have some big 10 plus yards, even some 20 plus yard runs. But we didn't see that a lot. I noticed in these games we saw a lot of 2 to 3 yard runs, 5 yards here, 4 yards here, and in the Jazz game, of course, that's when Zeke came back. They were still splitting carries at the time. So I noticed in that game Pollard was kind of more of a second, of course, second running back, indeed, what I'm saying, like in the first drive when they came out, they were using Elliott, and in the third quarter when they came out, they were using Elliott as far as in the run game. But we also saw them use other weapons, or quote unquote weapons at the time. We saw them using Dalton Schultz, CeeDee Lamb, of course, as a main target. But we also saw the use of Noah Brown. So we saw, drop passes that weren't efficient. We saw, Dak, also using his legs from time to time, especially in the Jags game. You know what I mean? So it wasn't, of course, these two games aren't, of course, all similar, all together. But we just saw a lot of similarities. Another thing, I kind of, saw that we just kind of had like a stale offense. Just kind of the way we came out in the Jags game. Of course, we saw in the Green Bay game, we were very stale. We had a lot of 3-and-outs. We just had plays that didn't make sense, or plays called at the wrong time, or like I said, 2 to 3 yard runs. Just plays that just didn't seem efficient. So just want to take a look at a few examples of just Tony Pollard in particular, how maybe we can kind of open up some situation for him to make these plays. If we're using 70% of the offense, just kind of maybe taking some of these plays that maybe weren't efficient last year. And just taking a look at maybe how we can, improve some of his odds. Let me catch up with the chat right quick. Double R says, as a fan, my downfall is I want 8 players at every position, but I know that can't happen. Yeah, that's definitely true. But I mean, the good thing about that is having depth, behind, that's the good thing. We have B players, we have, and C players are not, that's not even to call them B and C, like they're lower or not as good. That's just saying that we have depth, we have, players who have the potential to be just as good to be A players when we don't have said A players anymore in the future. Steven says, yep, I got to hit up the lounge. Yep, that's true. Yep. Hey, look, it's almost, 2 days of Friday, y'all. Yeah, it's almost lounge time. Look, I already made my run, so I'm already ready. So I already Already got my drink ready, if y'all know. Hey, what's good, Bruce? Look, you stepped in. What's good? What's good? How you doing, homie? Good to see you. Good to see you. That's a good point too, Sugar Daddy. Yep. You want the best at the most important positions. That's facts. And like we were mentioning, sometimes linebacker can be important, and run backer, y'all. Running back can definitely, definitely be important at times. Definitely that. Yeah, that was definitely true at times too. I love we bad play calling. Yes, yes, that was definitely a factor in some of these games. Yep, the Jags game was thrown away. Yeah, I don't want to say it was thrown away. We would. I mean, like I said, it's definitely something we can always learn. From games because we definitely came out. It's like I would say sputtering. Just sometimes some of the words. Sometimes the word that we use. We just came out stale. We just came out with not enough. Power behind our punch. If you will. We just kind of came out like play calling, oh, it didn't work. Okay, we'll just punt. What I'm saying? Just certain things just didn't work, and like we just really, really, do anything about it. Hey, what's going on, sis? Hey, you guys, Miss Nisi just tapped in with us. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Thanks for checking in, sis. Good to see you. All right, you guys. So let's go ahead and get into the first game, Green Bay. And pretty much, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and go to the second quarter, but just to kind of sum up, not to go over the whole game, you guys. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but of course, I do just kind of want to, just give a quick summary of what we, of course, what we saw, just to, give you guys just an idea of what we did see last year. So of course, in the first quarter, like I was saying, of the Green Bay game, we just kind of came out stale, as you can see. Really, neither side really did anything. You see, Green Bay had, a punt and a missed field goal, and really we got lucky when they missed that field goal. But as you can see with us, we had two punts. Like I said, when we came out, we didn't really, we featured Tony, of course, but like I said, with the, play calling choices, we just kind of had a stale offense. Like I said, 3 and outs, like. And actually, guys, before I get too far into the Green Bay game, another similarity I noticed between these games and also the Lions game is that the broadcaster kind of mentioned it in the beginning of the game, is that we actually won the toss for the Green Bay game, the Jags game, and I believe the Lions game, but we actually, elected to receive, in the, of course, in the first half. And then, of course, in the Lions game, I think the reason behind that was because that was Dak's first game back and maybe to get his feet under him. But, and also going along with both games being overtime games, I just kind of see it, I just kind of find it interesting that they have that, they have all these similarities. Like, maybe that's something to think about. Like, how often do you really win the toss when you start off a game? So, maybe it's something to consider, maybe give yourself a chance in the second half to come back out strong, or don't necessarily give the other team leverage over what you're going to come out with in the second half. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're right, Dope Meister. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't believe Kellen Moore sabotaged us. Like it's crazy even to think that happened. Like that is just crazy wild. What's good, Hamid? Yeah, you guys, what's up? I don't know if you guys, you guys, this is the first time you guys coming through. I mean, he's an Eagles fan, but he shows much love. He came through, a couple times before. Thanks for coming in again. I mean, good to see you. Good to see you. Double R says Kellen Moore couldn't manage the clock. We know that. I mean, I think that's more on Mike McCarthy's side of things. We definitely know that he's had problems before with time management. Kellen Moore, Kellen Moore is, of course, the one that, managing the playbook. But we know that there were definitely times in this game where, especially towards the end, where he just, just calls plays that didn't make sense, or just didn't seem like he was trying. Like it's one thing, you're calling a play, but if you're seeing something isn't working, don't just. To me, it just seemed like he was looking for any reason to, not run the ball, or any reason to not, go the way of common sense football. Sugar Daddy says everything must fit right. Quarterback, right backs, right line, right front seven. Yep, that's right. That's and also the right, we're talking about Kellen Moore, the right play calling, the right excuse me, the right situations, the right personnel. Just like you're talking about Sugar Daddy. That's right. That's right. Yeah, we won a lot of tosses. That's right. Actually, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So let me ask you this, Sugar Daddy. Do you think it's better that we elect to receive, or do you think it's better that we elect to defer? Which do you prefer? Does it matter to you, or does it depend on who we're playing? JC says everybody got to be on the same page. Yep, I agree with that too. Yeah, chemistry is very important when it comes, especially like we're talking about football being a team game. It's very important. Yeah, like I mentioned in the first quarter, we just kind of came out just really, speaking as you just mentioned, JCB on the same page. We just kind of came out, everyone not on the same page. You know what I mean? The first two drives pretty much were trash, as you see, punt. You know what I'm saying? Dak was, throwing pass into the ground. We see Schultz drop a pass. We see kind of, CD kind of, he caught a pass, but he kind of slipped. So it was just kind of like, I don't know if they, maybe just, I'm not sure, just the chemistry just seeing, or just the team in general just seemed a little bit off. So what we're gonna do is I want to, skip to here, right here to where Pollard, of course, comes out for a big run. But like I mentioned, he comes out, through a lane. Just like I mentioned, like with the Minnesota game or the Rams game, if he has a great run start in a great lane, I think that anything he put in front of Pollard, he can take and do anything that he wants to do with. On this one, we're gonna see Tyler Smith and of course McGovern take up the left side. We're also gonna see Dalton kind of step up and take on the linebacker. Of course we got on Dalton, and of course we'll see some plays here also where Dalton kind of falls short on his blocking, but we also see plays where he did well. Not to talk too much on him because we know we don't have him this coming year, but just talking about this play in particular. We see him come up and take on the block, so that Pollard is able to do what he's talking about. So like I mentioned, like in my first couple of videos about personnel and just how important that is, to the running back to do his job. Blocking is very important. As you see, he gets 14 here. As I said, he gets the handoff. Essentially, he gets a running start because he has an open lane, and his legs take care of the rest. Our line steps up, does their job. As I said, Dalton steps up. You see big play. This is kind of what, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, we just don't. We see them here or there, but we don't see a lot of big explosive plays in these two games. JC says, can't wait to see our slot corners going up against Cooks. Who's going to step up at CB4? That player will be key. Need them down the stretch. That is so true. That's one group I'm excited about this year. JC is the DB room, honestly, because it just like I'm similar to the wide receiver room. We just have so much depth, and it's just going to be so much competition, and not just at the top level where we see Cooks and Gilmore, CD and Gilmore, Gallup and Gilmore. We saw a couple of steals in them out there, going up against each other. So even to see the guys, Tober potentially, and KJ, Izzy, we got him trying to step up to get a job. You know what I'm saying? Or depending if they decide to put him at safety. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be important too. Like I said, depending on how, the numbers to each room, you know what I mean? So it's going to be a lot of battles we're going to see, not just necessarily in the high end of wide receiver and DB, but also the low end, not to call them the low end of wide receiver play. But you know what I mean? Like, wide receivers fighting for those bottom spots, and the same thing with the DBs. That's right, double R. Three and out don't work. Three and out don't ever work. Yep, they are. And we've seen our defense step up. We're gonna see that in the Jags game coming up. We've seen our defense step up in a lot of situations. And sometimes the things we were missing out last year was our offense just to kind of complete that situation. Sometimes we need, to kind of like we mentioned last year, just kind of to reward the defense for, if they give us a gift of a fumble, they give us a gift of a interception, we gotta return, we gotta return the points. Okay, I like that double R. Double R. So I like to set the tone of the game, give me the ball. Okay, I can see that. Okay, now I'm understanding. That's why. Okay, Sugar Daddy says it depends, on what. Okay, what game we're in. Okay, yeah, and I see that too. I can see, depending on who we play, which way you wanna, whether you want to receive the ball, whether you want to defer. So, and I agree on that. And I think maybe, but I would say, in my opinion, I would think for me, like I said, for me and myself, for like someone like Green Bay, like the Jags, I probably, I have no problem electing to receive. As far like for someone like Green Bay, I want to give myself a chance coming out, no matter what it looks like. I want to give myself a chance to come out against, Green Bay or Aaron Rodgers in particular, give my team a chance to put up another set of points before they come back out. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no guarantee in that second half your defense is going to be able to turn the ball over. You know what I mean? So, and really, there's no. I mean, we saw in the Jazz game, there's no guarantee the offense will come out there. You know what I mean, and produce. You know what I mean? So it's always a chance. No matter what you decide to do. Yep, that's true. We definitely have to stop the slow starts. I agree. Yep, I do. And maybe that's where, a lot of us, well, I know for me, when I first started watching football, seeing around the time I started watching, that's when, the Patriots were, popular and winning, almost every other year and stuff like that. So, a lot of people maybe follow that method, maybe follow that mode of always deferring, and always getting the ball second half. So, hey, yeah, to each his own, each coach, definitely, can pick, depending on the game. All right, so let's go on to the next example. Excuse me, guys. All right, so here we have another run by Pollard, but it's more of I guess I want to call it like a gritty run where it seems like maybe he might stop after a tackle. He still, gets the yardage, still goes through. You know what I'm saying? He kind of bounces off Schultz here, and he could easily fell back or lost his footing, but he still grinds to get those 6 yards. He goes behind McGovern and Smith. Just when made, could have easily been like a second and long. He makes it like a second and manageable. You know what I mean? Second and one. Very manageable. Because some people get thrown off by contact in the game, or they may fall down. You see, he just kind of bumps. He keeps going. His feet never stop. We see him just go right behind. Who's that? McGovern. Once again, the line doing their job, and that way, letting Pollard do his. Just another small step to moving the chains. And even though I did mention that there weren't as many explosive plays, there's nothing wrong with these small plays. Here and there, getting 5 yards here, 4 yards there. These yards definitely add up. There's nothing wrong with these short plays. That mean that you don't always have to have explosive plays. They definitely add up. The key is sometimes to continue with those. Taylor says the running back room for me at camp. Yeah, me too. I'm gonna be looking at. I think I guess as far as both sides of the ball, I'll be looking at the running back room on offense, and then the DB room on defense. Because just the wide receiver is so interesting too. But I just know that's going to be explosive. But as far as getting down to the details, getting down to the type of running back, just the kind of system we're going to have, and just the particular back and usual we're going to use, in not just a singular back. Because we have so many different, we have different kinds of backs that we could just implement. That it's going to be interesting just to see how they're how they're going to be utilized, in training camp just to start out. Yeah, Nishi says we start out slow against teams we think are better than us, and I can understand that. I definitely understand that. Because it was funny, we start out fast against teams we know we're better than, but then we take our foot off the gas. So sometimes giving that other team a chance. So it's just kind of like wow. Sometimes like I wish we just kind of sometimes I wish we just put our foot on the gas and just keep it like that all the whole game through. So at least that way we're don't even think about giving the other team a chance to come back. Excuse me. Yeah, this whole team as a whole had a few points to prove this season. I agree, Dope Meister. And this play right here isn't necessarily all about Pollard. I'm sorry, one second. I just kind of like that, the trick play aspect of including CD. I just, kind of makes me look forward to just, what they may do this year as far as, having a new type offense. Because we see CD come out, make the block. All hands are important. We see Schultz coming up as well. So yeah, Pollard does the work, but I'm saying, CD jumps in, Schultz, I'm saying. So we see McGovern get out there and get that big block first. So it's plays like this that makes me wonder, what kind of trick plays they may come out with this year. Being that the offenses are just a little bit simpler for these players, they're a little bit more excited, to try this out. What kind of tricks are they going to have, up their sleeve, coming out this year, And and even play like this got me excited for having Kelling, but it's just like we see this, but then we also see trick plays that just went bad, and it was just like so that just kind of made me kind of weary of trick plays in general because you just never know how they're going to go with Kelling, honestly. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go to this touchdown drive before the half. Because just give me 1 second. And as you see up here, we had an interception, another interception, and we just some of our drives, just, as you see, just did not end well. And actually, this play for me right now, I just want to kind of point out, Pollard isn't getting the ball, but this is more about his pass blocking. So, of course, we see him step up to take on the linebacker. And we see him do decent. He's able to keep, that clear for him to get the pass off. That's what I like to see. You know what I mean? Because of course we all had questions of and very well I believe it was the Washington game where we saw Pollard take it pretty tough when he tried doing pass blocking. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of had questions since then. So hopefully, and also in the Jags game we saw just a few pass blocking plays here and there. So hopefully we can stay consistent with that. it's kind of like similar to where I mentioned, like in the Eagles game where Paul was helping out Tyron on the right hand side, and Zach was able to get that play off to Gallup on the sideline. So we see him able to get the play off the CD. He runs that comeback route. Able to get the extra yardage. It's not a whole ton. It's not a huge play, but like I said, just enough to move the sticks or just get close enough to make it more manageable. All right, so we're going to move to the third. And as I mentioned, in the third quarter, we kind of came out, kind of stale once again, I believe. Yeah, as you guys can see, we had a punt, so we had a 3-and-out. And like I mentioned, we just happen to get lucky because as we see, we get the ball again. The defense, not defense, I'm sorry, special teams actually able to get us the ball. Sorry, Goodwin was able to cause a fumble. We also saw Gifford and Izzy getting there once again. So that's what we talking about. The offense kind of gets a gift, but we do see here that they come away with points. We see them get the touchdown. So and it's actually a touchdown by Pollard. That's why I want to bring it up. We see him get, able to get blocks off from Tyler and McGovern. As I mentioned earlier, with Dalton, sometimes Dalton's blocking is suspect, and we're going to see it right here. We see Dalton just can get completely blown by, but we also see, of course, Tony using his speed, but he pretty much misses him. And we definitely can't afford, any kind of missed block like that because we see that linebacker was coming in fast. But like I said, we see TP come up and get that block behind McGovern and Tyler. And just go right through that lane that was created. Which is great. Like I said, his legs are just a great asset for him, and he had like I said, just a little running start, just going to be able to get that lane and be able to get in there for that 6 we need. So that's why I think just like a good setup by the O line, and just a little bit of blocking from tight end help. You know what I mean? Can still be efficient. And this being real, after the third quarter, we really didn't produce. And we see in the fourth quarter, that's when we kind of let Green Bay catch up, kind of tie the score. We had 2 punts. We get to the end of the half, and of course, we see things I just kind of want to point out is that actually, you know what? 1 second, guys, I missed that last touchdown drive we had in the third quarter, and this is kind of where I wanted to point out Davis a little bit. That's why I wanted to bring him up. As we mentioned earlier about Davis having those big plays with those lanes that were created. Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. I'm still loading up. So we're just gonna see, just a 5-yard gain here. But as I mentioned, the lane, we see the lineman kind of grab him on his way out, but he still just has a little bit of space, kind of tiptoe through there, just to get, just enough to get, get a 5-yard gain. Like I said, just enough. Hey, you got halfway there. 5 and 5 equal 10. So we see him, and we see him kind of pull the lineman a little bit. So, not calling him a power back or nothing like that, but we see him trying. We see him putting forth the effort to get through the pile. We see the same thing on the next play. And actually, we even see, even bigger an even bigger game. We see him just shoot right through the hole. Right behind Steele. If you guys can see, just like you see this, the block that Steele creates. He takes on two defenders, essentially hangs on the one, and then grabs the second one so Davis can get through that pocket. Like Steele is going to be hopefully, you know what I'm saying, hopefully he comes back soon, being healthy, because he's just going to be amazing for that right side. You know, our line could really return to that wall if we just put all the right pieces in the right place, because that block was just crazy. And then of course the game we see from it. Of course, I think I'm not sure who that. I think it might be Ferguson helping him out on the block, but they're kind of bunched together. It's hard to see just from this angle. But like I say, we see the game. You know, you can't deny you know what I'm saying, a 17-yard game. And then his last big play on this drive before the touchdown. Once again, even goes just going towards the sideline, just that burst. And we see Steele, and what's funny is not funny, but we see, you know, this is before that playoff game, but we see tight end 4 out there, McKeon out there making the block as well on the outside, just allowing for Davis to just be gone right there. That was really the last piece of that puzzle right there. So just for him to be able to take off, you know, that was amazing for us right there. You know, at that point in time. And Tavis is looking at these routes on film. Most of them are trash. Yeah. You know, as I mentioned earlier, CD had that small curl route earlier. You know, we just didn't. You know, we definitely saw some questionable things out there. Nisha says, "Can't wait for him to play more this season." I agree. I want to, along with Vaughn, I want to see Davis in preseason too. And I want to see all the running. You know, of course, we want to see all the running backs, you know, out there in camp and in preseason. Just see what each of them can offer us. And honestly, you know, guys, I'm going to skip to overtime. As you see, our fourth quarter didn't really, you know, produce nothing. And as I mentioned earlier, Green Bay scored twice, able to tie it. We go to overtime. So just to go over our last drive of the game. Now, what kind of upset me is we see this drive in the last game where we have, you know, sufficient running. We have, you know, Pollard 7-yard run, you know, 15-yard pass to Lamb, so another 7-yard run by Pollard. Now, of course, you know, this, which is, you know, kind of definitely hurt us. You know, and this is where that came into hand. You know, came into point last year, penalties, and of course we know we had Tolbert lined up wrong. We had him lined up off sides. We had another penalty, you know, later on down the line by McGovern for holding. So, you know, for any point in the game for us to get penalties, you know, it's definitely the wrong point in the game, especially in overtime. You know what I mean? So hopefully we'll, you know, continue, because we definitely got better as far as from the previous year at penalties, but we definitely got to improve our discipline. You know, we always got to, you know, continue just improving discipline and just just trying to have the least amount of penalty as possible. So those are definitely some setbacks on this drive here. But as far as play calling, like I really can't be mad at Kellen because he did install some run calls on here. Like I said, we see Pollard have 2 7-yard gains. Not not to show you guys every play on this but we have 2 7-yard gains, a 9-yard game, and then we have the penalty by Tolbert. But then what's crazy is after I'll show you guys this, after we have the penalty, we're running great with Tony. And now granted, let me see 1 second, you guys. Okay, well, I'll start here and then the play before. Create a screen. Pollard goes up, moves to 6. This is what I'll be talking about right here. The next play, for whatever reason, when we go into our tight end 4, I'm saying, there's one thing about rotation, but we have Davis here, so we have Pollard, on the sideline resting, but we have Davis who had big chunk plays early in the game. Why not continue the trend of running? And if you're going to throw, why are we going to McKeon in overtime? Of course, we see the ball gets tipped now. Now, the ball being tipped isn't, on McKeon, but we talk about with questionable calling, at vital moments, yeah, Kellen Moore can have the, I'm saying number 1 offense all year, or when Dak is there, the number 1 offense. But if you make questionable play call like this in overtime, that that deserves some kind of speculation. And as I mentioned with the hurtful penalties that hurt us, we were still able to get back to 1st and 10 in their territory. So just to kind of switch up the play calling, at the wrong time sometimes can, as we see, can really hurt us. Then of course we, have another penalty, like I said, with holding from McGovern. After that, we go to Schultz. Like I said, these boys get back to 3rd and 3. And of course, we find out, we're going to go for it anyway on 4th down. So then we hit, here we're talking about play calling. If you're gonna run 2 plays on short yardage, you just need 3 yards to get the 1st down. Like I said, I don't have the numbers in front of me, as far as what, timeouts or how much time was left in this, that, and the third, and like that. But you have 2 chances to run, or just 2 chances to get 3 yards. Even if you do fail, for me, I would run first, just so that way, you're not giving the ball back, or giving a chance for an interception. Given the history of that season, just for discussion purposes. So you only need 3 yards. This is what we talk about with common sense. This is what we're talking about with common sense football, or situational football. Hey, I feel like this is why it took so, for me, it took a while to get back to watching these games, because watching these games, Tavis, just make you mad all over again. It's like, wow, like these decisions really were made at these point in time. Me too, Dope Meister. I can't wait either. I can't wait to see what they and Dan Quinn as well. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to see both sides, to see what everybody that came up with. And me seeing me, I'm sure we all feel that way. I believe he bet against the team as well. You know what I'm saying? The way he was acting, it's crazy how he was going. She said the biggest play that made me mad was when he went empty and Dak didn't run up the middle. Yep, and the same thing here, honestly. I mean, 3 yards. And that's what we, and I guess that's kind of, what the point that some people have too. Like, well, Dak can run up the 3 yards. Yeah, he can too. So that's, it's just, it's common sense. Why, you just need, and if you're gonna go for it on fourth down, why not try to run it at least to try? If our boys are getting 10+ yards, or even if we're, even on short yards, we're getting 3 yards here, 4 yards there. So it just, it's just kind of wild sometimes. Like I said, in these situations when you're making these decisions. And Bruce said Kelton's out there playing Madden. You ain't lying. Pretty much the second half of the season. So like I said, yeah, we see, like I said, they go, 2 chances to get 3 yards. They don't get either one. For the sake of we see them throw for whatever reason. Yeah, the guy was all over him. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Hey, interference and all that. But this is a point of we shouldn't even be throwing, in my opinion. And if you are gonna throw, I just don't think we should be throwing. I can't really make the argument for throwing, or even if you're gonna throw one, now you're waiting to throw now that so it's just like sometimes watching these things back, of course, watching it back, you can say anything you want, but it's just like even the situation, it's like wow, like some things you just shouldn't be calling. So yeah, that's definitely tough. That was definitely and definitely tough to rewatch. You know what I'm saying? So, but sometimes you do have to. Yeah, sometimes you do have to go back. See the mistakes you made. You know what I mean? And definitely learn from them. Yep, Nisi. Yep, especially when Noah Brown's your number one. Yeah, exactly. Like I was mentioning in the Jags game, like we were targeting Noah more than Pollard. You know what I mean? In some games, I don't know if it was the Jags game in particular, but in other games, targeting Noah more than CD. Like it didn't make sense. So that's great. So that was just the Green Bay example. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, those small plays, the 3 yards, 4 yards here and there, they don't necessarily, they're not necessarily, moot, not like that. You know what I'm saying? They can definitely attribute to the game, but we just sometimes when we don't see as many explosive plays, we kind of look stale. We kind of, come out dragging. We kind of, can't progress on the drives. We three and out, or we end up, just stalling out. You know what I mean? Or having to settle for field goals. These are situations we're talking about, or just examples we're talking about where sometimes play calling does matter, or sometimes common sense, should just prevail over, trying to be, detailed or, critical about what you should do in the, third and three situation. Get 3 yards. You know what I mean? All right, you guys. So we actually just hit the hour mark, and that was just the Green Bay game. I don't know how you guys are feeling. You guys got the time. You guys got time to go to through the Jacksonville game, or you want to wait till another time, or let me know how you guys feeling. Nisha says you want us crying with that Jacksonville game. No, I don't want y'all crying. Shoot, how you think I felt rewatching both these games? Shoot, I was like, after doing the Green Bay game, I was like, do I even want to do the Jags game? Like, I want to see it lose again, back to back. That's crazy. Dope Macho says we rocking. So, okay, how about the rest of y'all? How everybody else feeling? Y'all rocking out, or let me know, y'all. He said, "Let's watch sunshine handed to us." All right, all right. I got you. I got you. All right, let me bring it up. Let me. Yes. All right, you guys. So I got just gonna go through this. So go ahead, go. I'm gonna go ahead and start. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can see it. Let me know if you can see. I'll go ahead and get started. All right. So like I said, these two games are very similar. So like I said, we won the toss. Elected to receive. First quarter. As I mentioned, Zeke was actually in this game, so we did see Zeke more, just a little bit more prominent in the first quarter, and as I mentioned a little bit later on in the third quarter. So some of these spot plays I'm going to point out, or I'm going to point out, are like I mentioned, just kind of highlighting Pollard what he does. Let me see. I'm gonna go. Like I said, our first drive we kind of came out stale. So just to kind of premise our second drive, we got a touchdown. Like I said, the defense was able to get us a fumble. Like they handed it off to a lineman. Oh, I'm sorry, they handed it out to ETN, and then Golston was able to push the lineman back, and cause a fumble. And we see Wilson pick it up. So just to kind of premise our drive coming up. We're gonna see it here. And I mentioned, like we talked before, just our swarm defense. They just kind of, we saw Sam Williams in there. Just to give it a quick shout out to defense. We see Clark, Parsons was in there. Odigizua. So yeah, we gotta, plays like this. We gotta reward our boys when they get us a turnover. As we mentioned, our boys is big in turnover. We're already in, Jags territory. You know what I mean? We definitely got to come back with, some kind of reward for them. Taylor says, "Hey y'all, Kellen tried to make Cooper Rush elite versus Philly. Man, yeah, that's crazy, man. And we saw how he came out against Philly, and it wasn't even close to being pretty, y'all. Like we saw the interceptions. We saw that's not saying a real Cooper Rush, but we saw just how I'm saying we saw just how vulnerable he could be. Everything that not saying we hyped up Cooper Rush, but everything the media hyped him up to be was like we knew what Cooper Rush was. We know Cooper Rush is our backup for a reason. We know what it was. It was y'all that was hyping him up. So when we saw what happened, we not that we were surprised, but it's always a disappointment to lose. But I mean, y'all know what I'm saying. Like we knew Cooper Rush was going to have a tough time against that against that D line. First of all, but the defense in general. So yeah, like I said, things like that happen. We gotta reward them. So yeah, we did come back with a touchdown. But as I said, we did come back with a touchdown with Zeke. You know what I'm saying? Pollard does get his legs kind of warmed up with this drive. You know, he comes, like I said, he comes in, you know, gets 3 yards here. You know, he does get a big run for 11 yards. You know what I'm saying? But he just, you know, kind of getting his legs warmed up. You know, of course, you know, Zeke starting. So, you know, what I did was kind of skip. Like I mentioned earlier, they kind of had a use, you know, they kind of use Noah, CD, and Lamb as far as targets. So, we're going to go ahead to the second quarter. Oh, you know what? Let me go to this touchdown drive. Because that last touchdown drive, I believe it was a Hendershot that they went to for the touchdown. Let me see, just to clarify. Yeah, when Hendershot caught that one arm catch in the end zone. So like I said, they used Tony here and there, but it was Elliott who kind of got them down there, and then like I said, they threw a pass. So going to this drive here. We're gonna see this run by Pollard, where he just, you know, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, he uses his legs. He just makes this sudden change in direction that makes, you know, of course, everybody follow him. Oh, you know, actually, it's not this one. It might be. Oh, you know, it's down here. Sorry about that, you guys. That was an 8 yard run, but it was this one I was actually talking. This is another 8 yard run that I was talking about, where he makes this cut. So we see him, you know what I'm saying, make, because he could easily, you know, try to run into the pile of players, you know, make something out of nothing essentially. So we see him make this cut and go the whole other direction around, you know what I'm saying, and go further, you know, much further than he would have got being here. You know what I'm saying, going to here, you know, got up to what, the 15, you know, 14, 13. So we just see his ability to be able to kind of cut up field, you know, kind of at an instant, you know. Like I said, we didn't see too many of these, but you know, when we give him that lane, when we give him that, you know, ability, you know, lo and behold, here we are. Right, Dope Meister, yep. Cooper Rush was who we thought he was. Mm-hmm. And right, Tavis, don't forget, in Rush We Trust. Hey, that was crazy, y'all. That was some wild stuff back then. Like everything we heard about there back then was just wild. Okay, so here we have, you know, they kind of mentioned here that Josh Ball kind of reports in as eligible. So this kind of situation where I was going to bring up with the Lions game too, but I didn't want to bring up the Lions game just for, you know, a couple plays here and there. So I just kind of use it as another example where they have Pollard the goal line, which is not necessarily a problem, but this is what I'm talking about, where maybe Pollard sometimes needs that running start, or where he needs that. You know, granted he's starting from back here, but it's not much room for him to kind of gain momentum. You know what I mean? And sometimes that can be a strength, you know, and it may not necessarily be a weakness. You know what I mean? But I think that, you know, using him in goal lines, given situations, you know, hopefully maybe they'll be able to come up with some different solutions. Like I said, maybe blocking. Of course, we have, I think that's McKeon checking in. No, actually, well, they said Josh Ball is over here, but as far as, I mean, right here, this might be McKeon. I can't really tell. You know, numbers kind of cut off, but you know, so we could think of maybe another blocker for him, maybe to get the goal line, because we see him, you know, very seldom they get in the goal line. But of course, we also, you know, we know that we have Zeke who step up to do that. So you know, we're going to see here that it's, you know, not necessarily successful. And even, you know, we even noticed in the Washington game, you know, it was even hard for us to get out of our own territory because it was difficult for Pollard to get to that line. So, you know, we had to bring in Zeke. So it's just these kind of situations where we still kind of, you know, question what we're going to do, whether with Pollard or if we're going to bring in someone else. We have Hunter that we could, possibly look at for goal line situations, possibly Vaughn if they use his speed. So the different questions, that we, still have about Pollard as far as being a goal line running back. Because as I mentioned in the Lions game, there was a situation where they attempted, Pollard 3 times in a row pretty much at the goal line, and they end up having to settle for a field goal. So those are definitely important decisions because they could be a difference between seven points and 3 points. And we see him kind of slightly slip. At the same time, there's just that 3 players coming to him all at once. He really has no room. I just believe, in my opinion, I just believe that Pollard does better. Like I said, kind of with a running start and just kind of a lane, good blocker ahead of him. And even, I mean, we are even already see. I think that's Peters maybe on the ground. So maybe that's what happened. Maybe because he slipped over Peters, we see him lose his footing. So Pollard loses his footing. So maybe that's what happened. But there was just really nowhere for him to get through. You know what I mean? So he was already on the ground before really even the play even got off. So that's something we're going to take a look at, in training camp just to see what kind of, goal line packages we're going to have to create because, shout out to Boss Cowboy, he mentions that, we're definitely going to miss those 12 touchdowns by Zeke. So we're going to figure out what we're going to do that's different at the goal line. And Dope Meister says the Talking Heads was really trying to push that narrative that that Dak can learn a thing or two from Rush. Yeah, that. So yeah, some of that talk was just got out of hand. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's wild what kind of stories they can create when they really be trying to create stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, actually on that play they ended up bringing in Noah, so they brought him up for a short pass, so they got a touchdown with Noah. So kind of skipping forward toward the third quarter. Like I said, once again, they kind of use Tony Pollard, just moderately, here and there for a short yardage gain. And they came out using Lamb and Schultz. Zeke was a running back for the first drive. Like I said, I mentioned coming out in the third quarter. Some drop passes here or there end up happening to settle for a field goal again, as you guys can see. For the next drive, we see the interception. We know that Bland was able to, as I mentioned with his 5 picks last year, this is one of the games, and we're just gonna run that back just to kind of preface our drive of the field goal. As I mentioned, that's Bland with the interception. Just sticky with the guy and just able to even get, like I said, back in their territory. You get a gift like that from the defense. You got to return the favor. This is what I'm talking about. The very next drive, yeah, we get the ball back, but we get a field goal, we get points, but and this is something I wanted to point out in the Green Bay game, but and I kind of forgot you kind of going through it. But as you see, we only have 4 plays, but it's game time. But look how much, I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is how much total time we took off the clock. A minute, 1 minute of, albeit game time, but 1 minute off the clock. And this is the thing I saw like a lot in, late games where we get the ball back and we have a chance to score, or, I noticed that, and I know that's in the third quarter, but sometimes it's things like that where we only taking, we're not giving our defense a chance to rush. So they're getting right out the field. They just gave us an interception. You know what I mean? Give them a chance to rest. Give them a chance to regroup. Recoup. You know what I mean? But a minute, they're probably still thinking about the interception they just had, and now they're going right back on the field. You know what I mean? So like I said, granted, we got points off that drive, and that's somewhat of a reward, but we also got to give them rest as well. And as you can see on the very next drive, and even in 5 plays, they were able to come back and get a touchdown. So, whether or not that has to do with maybe the defense being tired, or you just never know. Maybe some of these factors, do come into play. We see down here, Diggs has a penalty, so he could just be tired holding on to the guy, just trying not to lose on the play, and then it ends up being a touchdown. So even these things may be small, or we may not even think about these things, but some of these things could definitely come as a factor. And then of course you guys see we have an interception, late third. Just another, just another, in my opinion, another example of a game where we just came out stale. We weren't consistent, and we just, we didn't give our defense much time to rest on certain drives. I just think that, that, like here, the interception, so the Jags will be able to come right back out and score another touchdown. I'm sure our boy, it's getting late in the game, about to be fourth quarter. I'm sure they're, still trying to catch their breath. So I'm going to go down here to our touchdown drive in the fourth quarter. Like I said, we had the here and there plays by Pollard, but this is just an example of, him using his footwork, kind of being gritty with it, digging in for those few extra yards, trying to move the sticks. So we see him get a 5-yard run. He kind of gets through the pile a little bit. We can use that at midfield. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I believe that's, when we had Maher, I believe that was close to field goal range. I'm not saying we're going for field goals. I'm just saying, these little short yardage displays, they add up. We see another play by him coming up again. See a 6-yard run. We see they come with the pre-snap motion, and see we see Pollard doing sidestepping. Sorry, it's kind of dark, you guys. And just with CD coming across, we see the linebacker just get slightly distracted. Just that little hesitation, that little move to the right, lets Pollard get that little extra yardage. You see he shifts up to try to follow CD. Next thing you know, Pollard running up. You know what I mean? So these little things, these little things count. And the rest of that drive looks like Noah Brown ends it and ends up getting the touchdown. But as far as the perspective of Tony Pollard, he really doesn't, for the rest of the game, really see our drive after the touchdown. It's a punt. We see the Jags have it. And really the rest of the fourth quarter, we kind of, come out spurting once again. We see the Jags have a fumble here on the play. Curse ends up recovering. But it's like, It's always the plays for me. It's like the plays right after a big defensive play. We come out here, we have Zeke running, but Tyron goes to block for him upfield, but no one is going to take this guy. So, I don't know if this had maybe. I don't know. Honestly, you guys, I don't know what it has to do with. But of course, we're going to see the play just dead it almost immediately. Because the guy comes right for Zeke. So I don't know if Dak was supposed to step up or if Tyron was supposed to take him. But you know what I mean? So just like what was the point of that play? And this is just kind of what, this is what kind of takes away the energy. It deflates. We just, celebrate from getting a fumble. And now we're behind the sticks. You know what I mean? 2-3 yards behind the sticks as a, from a tackle for a loss. Remember earlier I mentioned the time? 27 seconds off the clock. Just to give it right back to the Jags. So they can score a field goal. So they can tie it up. 4 plays, 27 seconds. Somebody says we need to set the tone and beat teams into submission. I agree. Yep, that's what I want to do this year. Just keep your foot to the pedal and not taking your foot off at all. And of course, lastly, we have the overtime drive. Once again, we get lucky to where the Jags get, and not even lucky, but the Jags get the ball first. They win the toss. We get lucky because they punt. They get a penalty. Like sometimes things just fall into our lap and somehow, some way, what I'm saying, as we saw, like it just it didn't end well because of maybe, play calling decisions or personnel decisions. As I mentioned, we get the ball. We come out first and 10. Pollard has a big run. 21 yards. What I'm saying? Like I mentioned before, Schultz is doing this thing with blocking. We come out, I won't say we come out smooth, but we have a play that could have potentially been for a loss. With what I'm saying, defenders already being there in the backfield with Pollard. But he creates a 21 yard run. Being Pollard, using his legs, having that run and start, having that, that outside, Schultz stepping up blocking. You see Tony again. You're going to see him do a little side step, see him get 6 yards. Another run play that's working. All right, so 2nd and 4. This is what I'm talking about. This is going to be my last point of the video. We're 2nd and 4, just like in the Green Bay game. What was the 2nd and 3? And they went to 3rd and 3. I'm sorry, and then 4 and 3. Here we have 2nd and 4, and it's still early downs. We're only on 2nd down. So we go to run again. We give it to Pollard again. And we see he gets no gain. And this kind of my example of what I'll be talking about would maybe, I don't know if Kellen gets scary or if he just, like I said, if he just looks for an excuse to not run the ball. Because we see that he runs it. We see that he's willing to call a run. But it's like when it doesn't, produce maybe what you want, that's your reason just to switch. Because of course we already know, we hate to watch it back, but This is where we throw on a third and 4 into Noah. It's like the last game where something doesn't work and then we go to Sean McKeon on the next play, or we get the turnover and then we go to Sean McKeon. So this run doesn't work, and so we go. You guys know what I mean? We go to Noah Brown, and then of course we have the interception where they run it back. So sometimes it just comes down to decision making, and it's kind of just like when something's working. Why go away from it? All right, you guys. So, like I said, that was my last point for that game in particular. Like I said, I just want to go through this. So there's some examples of how we used Tony Pollard last year. Like I thought the Green Bay game was a good example of how to kind of bring him up just because he was the lead back in that game, and we got to see a little bit of Malik Davis. So even was granted it's one game. I know another game that he was in last year was Tennessee game. I want to take a look, at that game and, just a little bit more detailed look and, just see how he, kind of up in that game if he had some big plays in that game as well. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Excuse me, guys. And just see maybe, maybe he might be able to step up to that running back 2 position this year behind Tony. But, we saw from Tony, we see that he, has the ability to, to use his feet, to kind of sidestep. Like I said, I think he does very well when he has that kind of that running start out of the backfield, or even, past the line of scrimmage. He still has the ability to catch the ball, and just use his speed, use his legs to do the rest. I think if you put him in the right situations this year, he could really progress even further. That's why I'm really hoping they kind of are a little bit more open to opening up to signing him to a deal, because I'd like to keep him a little bit, maybe 2-3 years, a little bit long term, maybe 4. But just depending, because we did just draft Vaughn, so just seeing how this running back room will look after training camp, that'll determine just how maybe far down the line we could probably keep Tony. So but that was just my thoughts on Tony, you guys. I just want to come up with a live, or just reach out to you guys, let you guys know what I think about Tony. TP, our new running back one. This is what I think he can do for our team. Coming into this new season. Is there anything you guys want to talk about before we get out of here? Let me know how you guys feeling out there. So much to Inspire Show. Keep up the great work. Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate everybody's time tonight. Thanks for checking in. If you guys don't have anything, as I always say, blessings to you guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of the night. As I said, my channel is about growth, growing my knowledge for the game, learning whatever I can and bringing whoever I can along. Hope you guys have a great night. As I mentioned, I look forward to seeing you guys the next time. Guys, get some rest up for the rest of the week. And I can't wait to talk to you guys the next time. Hope you guys have a good night.